In 1985, then 37-year-old, Maureen McDermott was a former nurse at the medical center in Van Nuys, Los Angeles. She hired Jimmy Luna, a co-worker, to kill her male roommate, 37-year-old Stephen Eldridge. The motive was to collect her roommate's $100,000 mortgage insurance on the house they co-owned. On April 1985, in the Van Nuys home he shared with McDermott, Eldridge was stabbed 44 times. 3 months after the killing, police arrested Jimmy Luna. He soon implicated McDermott and she was arrested a month later. Luna agreed to plead guilty and testify at McDermott's trial. He admitted recruiting brothers Marvin and Dundee Lee to assist in the murder. The Lees received immunity for their testimony. Luna, who was on the stand for 5 weeks, including 8 days of cross-examination, received life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Luna told the jury that McDermott promised him $50,000 to kill Eldridge. A month before the fatal attack, he and Marvin Lee made a first attempt, but Eldridge pushed them out of the way and ran out. In addition to having been repeatedly stabbed, Eldridge had his penis cut off after he died. Luna said that was done at McDermott's insistence, in order to make it appear that the killing was a homosexual murder that McDermott surmised the police would not vigorously investigate. Maureen did not testify, but her trial lawyers insisted that she had nothing to do with the killing and that Luna and the Lees could not be believed. McDermott spoke publicly for the first time at sentencing, denying that she had anything to do with the murder and calling prosecutor Catherine Mader, now a Los Angeles Superior Court judge, a power-hungry woman with so little integrity. She ended up being convicted and was sentenced to die in the gas chamber, on June 8, 1990. In 2002, 43-year-old Lynn Michaud, and her then-lover, 42-year-old James Anthony DiVeggio, were convicted of kidnapping, sexual assault, and first-degree murder. On December 2, 1997, the pair kidnapped 22-year-old Vanessa Leigh Sampson, from a Pleasanton Street, kept her inside their green Dodge Caravan, rigged with hooks and ropes, and repeatedly tortured her as they drove to South Lake Tahoe. They forced her to wear a rubber ball gag and strangled her with nylon. After sexually tortured and strangled the young girl, they dumped her body on a snowy embankment. During the trial, the evidence presented convinced the jury that the defendants used altered curling irons to sexually torture Vanessa, as she lay restrained inside the van that DiVeggio and Michaud had specifically fixed, in order to subdue their victims. On May 6, 2002, the former couple was convicted of first-degree murder with special circumstances of murder in the commission of rape, and rape by instrument. Vanessa Sampson's murder came after a series of at least 6 brutal rapes that the defendants committed against girls they knew, 2 of whom were closely related to them. On September 25, 2002, James Anthony DiVeggio and Lynn Michaud were sentenced to death. Kerry Lyn Dalton was convicted and sentenced to death for the 1988 torture and murder of 23-year-old Irene Melanie May, in Live Oak Springs, California. Dalton thought Melanie had stolen her jewelry and decided to give her a lesson. Before she died, Irene May was beaten, stabbed, injected with battery acid, and tortured with electric shocks. On October 28, 1992, more than 4 years after the murder, and without Irene's body been found, 39-year-old Kerry Lyn Dalton, 29-year-old Mark Lee Tompkins, and 28-year-old Cheryl Ann Baker, were arrested after implicated themselves in the murder when they admitted, and in several instances bragged, about their roles in the crime. Tompkins and Baker confessed to the horrible crime, implicating Dalton, but she never admitted her participation. According to one of his acquaintances, Tompkins explained how the three planned to give May a fatal injection, in retribution for stealing some items belonging to Dalton. Then the victim was given electrical shocks and a skillet was used to smash her knees. The body was dismembered, and the parts were buried on 2 Indian reservations to make it hard for police to obtain search warrants. At Dalton's trial, Cheryl Ann Baker was a prosecution witness. Tompkins did not testify, but the prosecution presented statements by him through the testimony of one of his cellmates. In July 1994, Baker pled guilty to second-degree murder, and Tompkins pled guilty to first-degree murder. Although no body was ever found, on May 23, 1995, Kerry Lyn Dalton was sentenced to death. She, Michelle Lyn Michaud, Maureen McDermott, and 17 other women, are on death row, held at Central California Women's Facility, in Chowchilla.